Broadway musical Here Lies Love boasts of a talented production team and cast members who are proudly Pinoy. Now, one of them is Clint Ramos, an award-winning, of course, costume designer from Cebu. Here Lies Love is about former First Lady Imelda Marcos'es' rise to power and subsequent fall after the 1986 People Power Revolution. You know, we are so lucky after a late night out. Clint is joining us here in the studio to tell us more about this historic revolutionary musical. Good morning to you, Clint.
Hi, good morning.
You have a lot to share with us. I mean, about Here Lies Love, Broadway debut.
Yes.
I'm sure it's definitely a dream come true for you, having, probably lived this for like so many years, and it's been brewing in your blood. How has it been so far? Now that it's been in Broadway for what, a few months now?
Yeah, it's been great. We've been selling out houses, and it's doing really well. The reception has been excellent. No, we're very, very proud of it, and it's doing really well.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the first of the first. I mean, leave it to you guys to make all of this happen, right? And to bring more Pinoy pride.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that is sort of the biggest, ethos of the production is really to highlight Filipino talent. Yeah.
And of course, now is a perfect time. I think everything just found its way, to make all of this happen. But I mean, we're actually just seeing the fruits of your labor. It just didn't happen overnight. I mean, I was asking when was the seed actually planted for all of this to happen?
Well, I got a call from Filipino novelist Jessica Hagedorn in 2003, 2004, and introduced me to David Byrne. And David had sent me the music to the show, and I fell in love. He said, do some studies. I don't know what it's going to be yet. And in 2011, we started workshopping what would be the theatrical germ of this show, and now it's 2023, right? And we premiered off-Broadway in 2013, went to London in 2014, 2015, and Seattle, and now we're on Broadway. And for me, it's very special, because I've stepped up to become one of the lead producers of the show. Yeah.
Right. But what was it? I mean, what was Dave actually looking for? I mean, what he seemed to have this passion. I mean, to want to know everything.
Yeah. I think David, most of us know him from the Talking Heads, right? But what David Byrne is really this global artist, almost like this auteur. And he was really fascinated by these personalities, who come into power, stay in power for a long time, and what makes them tick, and also the consequences of what that does to the people, right? And so he was fascinated by that. He was fascinated by her, but he was also fascinated by America's relationship with the Philippines. And so that's how he sort of launched into it,
Okay, so now fast forward to 2023.
Yes.
Here we are. And
Here we are.
For everybody that's planning to go out there, go to New York and catch the show.
Yeah.
What is the show about? I mean, where do we start and where do we end when it comes to the show?
The show is many things, right? But I think the germ of it follows that regime. It follows the rise and fall of it, and it also highlights what Filipinos have done to take destiny into their own hands, right? And take power back. But the show is an exuberant sort of theatrical juggernaut. It is set in this club, and that's sort of the artifice of it, which we call it a Trojan horse, right?
Yeah, I like it, and because we're talking about something quite serious, but then I'm seeing a lot of dancing, happening. So it's fun, right? It
is fun, but it is deceptive, right? I think what I would compare it to is probably cabaret, right? The musical cabaret. You're invited to this thing which seems to be celebratory, right? But you're actually talking about something really dark in the very end, right? And to us, it's important because if you follow that trajectory, that leadership, right, in those 21 years, people were seduced by it, right? And I think you fall in love with an idea of leadership, and then it betrays you, right? And the consequences are dire, right? And so that to me is sort of how we've perfectly you know, Stephen Sondheim says content dictates form.
Yeah.
Right? And to a certain extent, the seduction into the disillusionment is literally representative of how the form of the show is. You know?
Okay, so since you have actually been eating, breathing, giving life,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
to Here Lies Love,
Yeah.
what is the one thing that you have discovered
Yeah.
about, you know, about Imelda, or something that you're like, oh my gosh, I did not know that. Aside from the fact that she loves to dance, what are the
I think
that you
we've
have
done.
discovered about her?
I think we've done so much research that we've gone into all of those nuances, right? I think what to me is surprising is sort of the journey before the presidency, right? And that was really formative in terms of what formed her psyche, you know. Without telling too much, I think it really it shows how that trajectory is, right? Like how it just didn't come out of thin air, right? And I think that's sort of what another point of the show is that, you know, when you see these complicated characters, right, or characters of power whose actions and consequences affected a lot of people, these leaders don't just come out of the ground formed, you know, they're human beings, and they are, they face human actions, and they face human desires, right? And the personal becomes political, particularly if it's a long rule, right? It becomes a, personal issues get worked out on the global stage, you know. Yeah.
Well, of course, we've had like Ariel here on the show and Jose Liana in
yes,
the past. They're loving,
yeah.
they're raving, you know, about this. Why must we watch the show? For all those that are planning to go to the U.S. and do invite, come out and watch Here Lies Love, because
I think it's historic. We've never seen anything like it. An all-Filipino cast on Broadway telling a Filipino story. We have a phalanx of Filipino producers who are behind it.
Vina Morales has just joined the cast.
Vina Morales is taking over Lea Salonga, who is in the West End right now. And, you know, Christine, it's just, to us, it is a celebration of Filipino art, right? And, you know, like any other great art, it is, you know, modesty aside, it's excellent, right? But it cannot be everything for everybody, you know?
Yes, I mean, you know, with the cast, excellent producers. I mean, the story speaks for itself. I mean, it's definitely something so timely, you know, that we want to just get out there, go to New York. Just to catch a show, right?
And I would say it's really about democracy,
Yes.
you know? It's how we form democracies,
Well, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking time to join
Thank you
us
so
here
much.
on New Day after a late night.